Welcome back to GH Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the issues surrounding Carly Spencer's increasingly troubling relationship with WSB Chief Jack Brennan and the potential danger it poses to her and her family. Is Carly Spencer walking into a deadly trap orchestrated by the very man she's been romantically involved with? Recent developments suggest that Jack Brennan may not be the charming, straightforward WSB chief he presents himself to be, but rather a calculating individual with sinister motives targeting the Spencer Corinthos family circle. The hidden agenda behind Jack's interest in Jocelyn. Jack Brennan has been quietly cultivating a relationship with Jocelyn Joss Jacks, encouraging her to pursue WSB training without her family's knowledge or consent. This secretive mentorship raises serious questions about his intentions. Why would a high-ranking WSB official take such personal interest in recruiting a young woman while keeping it hidden from her protective mother? The clandestine nature of this arrangement suggests Jack may be grooming Jocelyn for something far more dangerous than a career in intelligence. By establishing himself as a trusted mentor, he's positioned himself to potentially manipulate Jocelyn or use her as leverage against Carly and Sonny. This calculated move to influence Carly's daughter demonstrates a methodical approach to infiltrating her family structure. The explosion that nearly claimed Michael's life. Evidence increasingly points to Jack as the potential mastermind behind the devastating explosion at Sonny Corinthos' penthouse. This wasn't merely property damage, it was an attack that nearly killed Michael Corinthos, Carly's son. The timing of this incident, occurring during Jack's involvement with Carly, cannot be dismissed as coincidental. If Jack is indeed responsible, it reveals a terrifying dimension to his character, a willingness to murder innocent family members to achieve his objectives. The explosion may have been intended as a warning, a distraction, or perhaps the first step in a larger plan to dismantle Sonny's organization while simultaneously destabilizing Carly emotionally. The question remains, what could Jack possibly gain from targeting Sonny's family so aggressively? Is this personal vengeance, professional elimination, or part of a broader WSB operation with Carly unwittingly caught in the crossfire? Carly's instinctive withdrawal, too little, too late? In a moment of clarity at Kelly's, Carly made the decision to step back from her relationship with Jack. This wasn't a casual breakup but rather a response to her mounting unease about his character. Her instincts, honed through years of navigating dangerous relationships and Port Charles politics, finally triggered an alarm she couldn't ignore. What's particularly telling was Jack's reaction, or lack thereof. His minimal resistance to her decision suggests he either doesn't value their relationship or, more disturbingly, views it as expendable within his larger scheme. A man genuinely invested in Carly would have fought harder to understand her concerns and salvage their connection. This muted response may indicate that Jack has already extracted what he needed from their relationship or that he's confident she'll return to him, perhaps when she's more vulnerable or when he applies the right pressure. Either scenario bodes poorly for Carly's future safety. The revealing encounter with Jack's former flame. The first significant crack in Jack's carefully constructed facade appeared during an unexpected encounter at the Metro Court. When an old flame recognized Jack, her reaction spoke volumes, conveying shock, perhaps fear, and certainly unresolved history that Jack had never mentioned to Carly. This woman's visceral response suggests she may have experienced Jack's true nature firsthand, possibly escaping a similar situation to what Carly now faces. The encounter serves as a crucial warning sign. If this woman was so disturbed merely by seeing Jack again, what might she reveal about him if given the opportunity to speak freely? Carly, no stranger to deception herself, immediately recognized the authenticity of this reaction. It wasn't jealousy that troubled her but the realization that Jack's past contained significant chapters he had deliberately concealed from her. The master manipulator's pattern. Jack Brennan exhibits all the hallmarks of a sophisticated manipulator. His position as WSB chief provides him with extensive resources, intelligence capabilities, and a veneer of legitimacy that makes questioning his motives difficult. He's carefully cultivated relationships with multiple members of Carly's family, creating a web of influence that extends beyond just his romantic connection with her. His approach bears the hallmarks of a calculated intelligence operation rather than genuine emotional involvement. Each interaction appears designed to gather information, establish trust, or position himself advantageously within Carly's circle. The precision of his methods suggests this isn't his first time executing such a scheme. What remains unclear is whether Jack is acting on official WSB business, perhaps targeting Sonny's organization, or pursuing a personal vendetta using his professional resources. Either way, Carly has become entangled with someone who views relationships as tactical advantages rather than emotional connections. The looming threat to Carly herself. If Jack's pattern holds true, having potentially targeted Sonny through the explosion and now manipulating Jocelyn, Carly herself may be next in his sights. The question isn't whether she's in danger, but what form that danger will take. Will Jack attempt to use her for information about Sonny's operations? Is he planning to frame her for illegal activities? Or might he be setting her up for a more direct form of harm? Given the explosion that nearly killed Michael, physical danger cannot be ruled out. Carly's greatest vulnerability may be her tendency to trust her own judgment, even when evidence suggests caution. Having already broken things off once, will she maintain her distance, or will Jack find a way to draw her back in with new promises or manufactured crises requiring her trust? The race against time. As suspicions mount about Jack's true nature and intentions, Carly finds herself in a precarious position. The more she learns about Jack, the more dangerous her situation becomes. If he realizes she's uncovering his deception, he may accelerate whatever plans he has in motion. The critical question now is whether Carly will piece together the warning signs in time to protect herself and her family. Can she connect Jack to the explosion? Will she discover his manipulation of Jocelyn before it's too late? And perhaps most importantly, does she have allies who can help her counter whatever Jack has planned? Time is running short, and with each passing day, Jack's influence and the threat he represents continue to grow. For Carly Spencer, recognizing the danger may have come too late. She's already invited the enemy into her life, her business, and potentially, her family's destruction. Welcome to the dangerous game of cat and mouse unfolding in Port Charles, where the stakes couldn't be higher and where Carly's next move could determine not just her fate, but that of everyone she loves. Next, we will learn about the issues surrounding the mysterious Jen Sidwell and his potential connection to the infamous Cassadine family that has Port Charles buzzing with speculation and concern. The Cassadine connection, hidden bloodlines revealed? Could Jen Sidwell be an unknown Cassadine or related to Helena? This question has dominated fan discussions since his arrival in Port Charles, with each of his actions seeming to strengthen this theory. The Cassadine family tree has always been shrouded in mystery, with branches extending far beyond what residents of Port Charles have been led to believe. Helena Cassadine, the notorious matriarch whose reign of terror spanned decades, was technically only a Cassadine by marriage, yet she embodied the family's darkness perhaps more authentically than those born with the name. If Jen shares Helena's bloodline rather than Mikos's, it would create a fascinating dynamic. He would be a Cassadine adjacent, carrying the family's propensity for scheming without the legitimacy of the name. This would explain his obsessive interest in reclaiming Windmere while maintaining an outsider's perspective. Helena had numerous affairs and secret alliances throughout her life, and it's entirely possible she had children or relatives that even she kept hidden from the main Cassadine line. Historical records of Helena's family before her marriage to Mikos remain conveniently sparse, creating the perfect narrative gap for someone like Jens to emerge from. Perhaps he represents a parallel bloodline that has watched the Cassadines from afar, waiting for the perfect moment to claim what they believe is rightfully theirs. His comfort with Windmere's macabre atmosphere suggests a familiarity that goes beyond research. It feels like coming home. Windmere's dark appeal. Why this particular property? It's a well-known fact that Spoon Island and the mansion are the home base for the Cassadine family. Jen's decision to purchase this particular property raises significant questions about his motivations and background. Windmere isn't just real estate, it's a symbol of Cassadine power and legacy in Port Charles. The Gothic mansion stands as a physical manifestation of the family's dark history, isolated on Spoon Island like the Cassadines themselves have always been isolated from normal society. What's particularly telling is Jen's comfort within those haunted walls. Windmere has a reputation that would send shivers down the spine of any ordinary buyer. Its halls have witnessed countless murders, supernatural occurrences, and sinister plots. The property features secret passages, hidden rooms, and an elaborate underground tunnel system that has facilitated numerous escapes, kidnappings, and clandestine meetings over the years. Most people would run screaming from such a property, yet Jen seems to embrace these elements. The mansion's history is written in blood, literally. From Stefan's fatal fall from the parapet to Stavros's multiple deaths on the grounds, from Catherine Bell's murder to the numerous hostage situations and standoffs, Windmere has been the stage for some of Port Charles's most dramatic and deadly moments. Yet Jens moves through these spaces with an unsettling ease, as though the whispers of past violence are welcoming him rather than warning him away. His acquisition of Windmere could indeed be about keeping it in the family, a reclamation project rather than a new purchase. The timing is also suspicious, coming when the Cassadine presence in Port Charles has been diminished, with Nicholas missing and Spencer focused elsewhere. It's as though Jens was waiting for the perfect moment when the traditional Cassadine grip on Windmere had loosened enough for him to step in. The dagger's deadly history, a gift with sinister implications. Plus, his odd gift to Alexis, the very dagger Mikos Cassadine used to kill her mother, was over the top, to say the least. This wasn't merely a tasteless present, it was a calculated move that revealed Jens possesses intimate knowledge of the Cassadine family's darkest secrets. The dagger represents one of the most painful chapters in Alexis's life, the murder of her mother Kristen Bergman, opera singer Kristen Nielsen, at the hands of Mikos Cassadine in a jealous rage while a young Alexis, then known as Natasha, watched in horror. This isn't the kind of information one finds through casual research. The details surrounding Kristen's murder were closely guarded, known only to those within the innermost circles of the Cassadine family. For Jens to not only know about the murder but to have obtained the actual murder weapon suggests connections that go far beyond what he's revealed publicly. The presentation of the dagger serves multiple purposes. First, it establishes Jens as someone with access to Cassadine's secrets and artifacts. Second, it creates an immediate emotional connection with Alexis, albeit a traumatic one. Third, it sends a clear message that he understands the family's violent history and is unafraid to invoke it. The dagger isn't just a relic, it's a symbol of the Cassadine legacy of passion, betrayal, and bloodshed, all themes that Jens seems eager to resurrect. The question becomes, how did Jens acquire this dagger? Was it passed down to him through family channels? Did he purchase it from someone who had stolen it from the Cassadines? Or has he been collecting Cassadine memorabilia for years as part of a long-term obsession? Each possibility reveals something different about his character and intentions, but all point to a deep, possibly personal connection to the family's history. Cassadine knowledge, beyond public record. How does he know about the dagger, its history, and how it relates to the Cassadine family. This question cuts to the heart of the Jen Sidwell mystery. The depth of his knowledge about Cassadine history goes far beyond what any outsider could reasonably discover. The Cassadines have always been notoriously private, with their most scandalous and criminal activities kept hidden from public view. Even in the digital age, certain family secrets remain buried in private journals, encoded messages, and oral histories passed down through generations. Jen's knowledge suggests either intimate access to family archives or personal connections to those who witnessed these events firsthand. He speaks of Cassadine history with the confidence of someone who has lived it, not merely studied it. His familiarity with specific details, like the exact circumstances of Kristen Bergman's murder, points to information that would only be available to family members or their closest confidants. This level of insider knowledge could be explained if Jens is indeed a previously unknown Cassadine relative. Perhaps he was raised away from Port Charles but educated in family history, preparing for the day he would claim his birthright. Alternatively, he could have been mentored by someone with direct ties to the family, a former servant, ally, or even enemy who shared their knowledge with him. There's also the possibility that Jens has been observing the Cassadines from the shadows for years, gathering information and biding his time. His sudden emergence in Port Charles might be the culmination of decades of planning, with each piece of Cassadine lore carefully collected and catalogued for future use. This would explain both his extensive knowledge and his strategic approach to establishing himself at Windmere. Port Charles, the strategic choice. If this is true, why has Sidwell decided to set up shop in Port Charles, and why by Windmere of all places? Port Charles isn't just any small town, it's a nexus of power, wealth, and intrigue that has drawn countless individuals seeking fortune, revenge, or redemption over the years. For someone with Cassadine connections, it represents the perfect battleground to establish or reclaim power. The town's unique characteristics make it an ideal setting for whatever Jens has planned. Port Charles has a remarkably forgiving, or forgetful, population that has welcomed reformed villains back into society repeatedly. It has powerful families and organizations, the Courtemains, the Corinthos organization, ELQ, and General Hospital itself, that provide multiple avenues for influence and manipulation. It also has a history of supernatural and extraordinary events that create an environment where almost anything is possible. Windmere specifically offers strategic advantages beyond its family connections. The mansion's isolation on Spoon Island provides privacy for whatever schemes Jens might be developing. Its reputation keeps most visitors away, allowing him to operate without constant scrutiny. The elaborate tunnel system offers covert access to various parts of Port Charles, perfect for surveillance or unexpected appearances. And the property's association with the Cassadine name instantly grants Jens a certain mystique and authority in town. If Jens is planning something significant, whether it's claiming Cassadine assets, seeking revenge against family enemies, or establishing himself as the new Cassadine power in Port Charles, Windmere provides the perfect headquarters. It's both a symbolic claim to the Cassadine legacy and a practical base of operations for whatever he has planned next. The Sunny connection, clearing up misconceptions. Many fans believed that Jens was behind Sonny Corinthos' penthouse explosion, however, this doesn't seem to be the case. This revelation adds another layer of complexity to the Jen Sidwell mystery. If he wasn't responsible for the attack on Sonny, it suggests his agenda in Port Charles may be more focused on the Cassadines than on disrupting the town's existing power structures. The initial suspicion that Jens targeted Sonny made a certain kind of sense. New villains often establish themselves by challenging Port Charles's resident mob boss. Sonny represents a significant obstacle to anyone looking to gain control in town, and neutralizing him would be a logical first move for a traditional power-hungry newcomer. The fact that Jens apparently isn't following this playbook indicates his motivations are more nuanced. Instead of confronting Sunny directly, Jens has focused his attention on Cassadine matters, acquiring Windmere, researching family history, and connecting with Alexis. This suggests his primary interest lies in claiming or reclaiming a place within the Cassadine dynasty rather than building a new power base from scratch. He may view himself as the rightful heir to the Cassadine legacy, whether through direct bloodline or some other connection that he believes legitimizes his claim. This doesn't mean Jens won't eventually clash with Sunny, their spheres of influence are bound to overlap eventually, but it does indicate that any such conflict would be incidental to his main purpose rather than his primary goal. In the complex chess game of Port Charles power dynamics, Jens appears to be focused on capturing the Cassadine castle before making moves against other pieces on the board. The Windmere effect, comfort in darkness. It would also explain why he doesn't at all seem creeped out by the Windmere's haunting decor, the fact that the home has an underground tunnel system and isn't bothered by the countless individuals who have passed away in the mansion or on Spoon Island in general. Jens' comfort within Windmere's Gothic atmosphere is perhaps one of the most telling clues about his background. Most newcomers to the mansion find themselves unsettled by its dark corridors, imposing architecture, and the almost palpable sense of tragedy that permeates its walls. Yet Jens moves through these spaces with the ease of someone returning to a childhood home. Windmere isn't just aesthetically intimidating, it carries the psychological weight of its bloody history. The mansion has been the site of numerous deaths, disappearances, and supernatural occurrences. Local legends speak of ghosts wandering its halls, particularly on stormy nights when the island is cut off from the mainland. The portrait gallery seems to watch visitors with judging eyes, and unexpected drafts extinguish candles at dramatic moments. Even longtime Port Charles residents approach Windmere with caution, aware of its reputation.